Morning guys, I hope you had a brilliant weekend. I've just been journeying with something over the last couple of weeks that I wanted to share with you that's actually really been challenging me. I'm driving, but I am stuck in traffic, so don't worry, I'm being safe. I was really challenged by the story of the 12 spies that went to scout out the promised land. And the thing that bugs me is that these 12 spies were all leaders in their respective tribes of Israel. That's how they were chosen. We see the story in Numbers 13 and 14 play out. But I'm confronted by two really interesting things. The first is that these 12 spies spent 40 days spying out the land of Canaan, and the 12 of them were confronted with exactly the same reality. They saw the same stuff. Right, so the information that they had available with which to make decisions, with which to choose a posture, with which to relay a message was exactly the same. To compound that, their experience over the last, I believe, 2 years that they were journeying through the desert at the time was also exactly the same, right? They saw the same miracles. They say that they saw the same 10 plagues. They saw the manna come from heaven, the fowl come from heaven. They saw the water from the rock. They saw the shining face of Moses as he came from the mountain, right? They saw all the same stuff. They had the similar experience. They saw the victories that God secured for them. But they also heard God say that I have given you the land. And so these 12 people are almost indistinguishable as far as their journey is concerned up to this point, right? And these 12 people go into the same space and they come back with two very different messages. 10 of them say, we felt like locusts in their presence, and we believe that we are like locusts in their eyes. Like they're communicating on behalf of these people that are giants, as if they've spoken to them, which I'm pretty sure they didn't. And then the other two, like Caleb shushes them. And he says, hey, whoa, let us go take this land now, for it is good and it has been given to us. And they say, no, we can't conquer these people. And I'm like, what is going on here? And I think sometimes when we read stuff like this in scripture, we're automatically associating with Caleb and Joshua, right? In your own life, you're like, yes, I'm Caleb and Joshua, and oh, look at these 10 faithless, lazy people. Can't they just believe after all they've seen, after they've seen manna from heaven and just water from rocks and God always being on their side, doing the impossible, parting oceans and rivers in flood and all of the crazy stuff. They still say, no, we can't conquer this space. And we're like, yeah, there must be heathens and they're just faithless. And I've been confronted with whether, if I were ever to find myself in the same situation, would I be one of the 10 or one of the 12? And I recognize that if we are honest with ourselves as South Africans at the moment, there are giants in our country, right? We're struggling with an infrastructure crisis. We've got failing water infrastructure, and as a result of water crisis, we've got massive electricity and power related concerns, and as a result, that's having dire consequences on our economy. And then we've got all the political stuff with Russia and the US at the same time, right? And you're like, geez, there's giants in our country at the moment. And the question is, how do I respond to that? Am I one of the 10 that says these things are too big, they are too challenging, they are too impossible to do, we cannot win this fight? Or am I one of the two that says, hey, but God has given us the country? And what I'm discovering is that the scripture says Caleb and Joshua had a different spirit in them. And I was like, God, what is this about? Explain this to me. And I almost feel like this different spirit refers to the posture with which these groups of people went to go spy out the land. We see that the 10 go and they report on the fruit and the wonderful bounty and that it's a land filled with milk and honey, right? They see the potential, but they also see the work. They see what needs to happen in order to conquer it. So they're kind of realistic about it. But it feels to me like the posture they had was that they had to conquer it with their own effort, and they were taking a fair kind of indication of what they could do by themselves, and they said, we can't do this. I feel like Joshua and Caleb had a different departure point. They said, hey, if we go into the space, we don't really care what's going on there, because this God that parts oceans and rivers and gets us out of slavery and brings water from a rock, this God says, I have given you the land. So what's going on here? What needs to happen for us to get this land is kind of irrelevant, because it's already been given, right? The God who owns this overall has given it to us. So my inheritance as far as this country is concerned has been secured. So what am I going to do? I'm only here to unwrap the present, right? I'm only here to see what he has already given. And so my approach in the spying mission is not to look at what God needs to do in order to give it to me, but to understand the potential and the blessing with which I have been blessed. And that different spirit says, guys, what is the issue? It's already been given. All we have to do is take it. All we have to do is unwrap the present. And I'm saying, guys, all of a sudden we're in a similar situation, and we've got a choice. Every single one of us has a choice to say, am I seeing the challenge as if it's my job to overcome it, or am I seeing the potential, the opportunity that lies before me? And if we're willing to choose that, to say we will choose to communicate hope, we will choose to communicate from a position of inheritance, from a position of God has already said it. Because sometimes most people miss opportunities because they come dressed in overalls and look like work, right? And so I want to encourage you as you go into this week and as we go into the next season, in pop-up and in just your personal life, think about it. Think about the message that you bring back from whatever challenge it is that you might face, whatever mountain it seems lies before you, or whatever giants you feel are taking control of your terrain, and say, hey, you can do all things through Christ, right? And if he's given you that, you don't have to fight, you just have to open. I hope that blesses you, and I hope you have an incredible week.